Good afternoon, friends. In the introductory part, we came to know three systems. One is the respiratory system, second one is phonetory system, and last one is an articulatory system. In the introductory part, we also came to know that phonetics is the branch of linguistics, and linguistics is a systematic study of knowledge, language, and phonetics deals with the production, reception, and transmission of speech sounds. We also come to know that for the production of any sound, air is important. At the same time, organs of speech are important. In the respiratory system, we come to know that respiratory system consists of lungs, muscles of chest, and windpipe. Lungs are spongy bodies. These lungs are made of small sacs or bags called alveoli. It's in alveoli blood is cleaned or purified. For the for the purification of blood, oxygen is important, means air is important. Air is supplied to these alveoli by small tubes called bronchioles. And all these bronchioles come together into two large tubes called bronchi. Bronchi joins the trachea or windpipe. The process is known as respiration. We also come to know that respiration is of two types. One is inspiration and second one is expiration. For the production of any sound, lung air is used. So we come to know that pulmonic airstream mechanism is of two types. One is pulmonic egressive airstream mechanism and second one is pulmonic inaggressive airstream mechanism. When an airstream mechanism is used to draw air in, it's called pulmonic inaggressive airstream mechanism. And when pulmonic airstream mechanism is used to throw air out, it's called pulmonic egressive airstream mechanism. We also come to know that all sounds are pronounced with pulmonic egressive airstream mechanism. We use pulmonic inaggressive airstream mechanism in case of yawning and snoring, but not in case of production or in case of speaking. Second system is phonetory system. While talking about phonetory system, we come to know that phonetory system consists of larynx. Larynx is also known as an amzapli. It's situated at the top or at the end of windpipe. In the larynx, there is a pair of lip-like structure, and this pair of lip-like structure is known as vocal cords. These vocal cords are attached in front and separated at the back, and the opening of the vocal cords is known as glottis. These vocal cords may vibrate or may not. When there is a vibration of vocal cords, sound is known as voiced. But when there is no vibration of vocal cords, sound is known as voiceless. The last system that we come to know in the introductory part, that is articulatory system. Articulatory system consists of roof of the mouth, lips and tongue. Roof of the mouth consists of upper front teeth ridge, hard palate, soft palate, and ulna. Lips are two in number. One is upper lip and second one is lower lip. And it's divided into five parts: tip of the tongue, blade of the tongue, front of the tongue, back of the tongue, and root of the tongue. So far as roof of the mouth is concerned, I made it clear to you that roof of the mouth consists of upper front teeth. The part immediately behind the upper front teeth is known as teeth ridge. It's also known as an alveolar ridge or an alveolum. Just behind the teeth ridge or alveolar ridge or alveolum, roof of the mouth becomes hard and bony. This hard and bony structure of the roof of the mouth is known as hard palate. Just behind the hard palate, roof of the mouth becomes a soft and fleshy. This soft and fleshy structure of the roof of the mouth is known as soft palate. It's also known as a velum. And the last hanging structure of the roof of the mouth is known as ulna. Lips are two in number. One is upper lip and second one is lower lip. But bear in your mind that upper lip and roof of the mouth, which includes teeth ridge, hard palate, soft palate, and ulna, are passive articulators, but lower lip and tongue are the active articulators. Tongue is divided into five parts. The extreme edge of the tongue is known as tip of the tongue. Just behind the tip is the blade of the tongue. And remember, blade of the tongue is the part of the tongue which lies opposite to teeth ridge or alveolar ridge or alveolum when the speech organs are at rest. Just behind the blade is the front of the tongue. Front of the tongue is the part of the tongue which lies opposite to hard palate or soft hard palate when the speech organs are at rest. Just behind the front is the back of the tongue, and back of the tongue is the part of the tongue which lies opposite to soft palate when the speech organs are at rest. And the last part of the tongue is known as root of the tongue. Friends, soft palate plays an active role. This soft palate can be raised or it can be lowered. Remember, when the soft palate is raised, it touches the back wall of the pharynx. It touches the back wall of the pharynx so that nasal cavity or nose is closed. But mouth cavity remains open. Air from the lung escapes not through nose or nasal cavity but through mouth cavity, and sound is known as oral sound. But when the soft palate is lowered, nasal cavity remains open. Air from the lungs escapes not through mouth cavity or not through oral cavity, but it escapes through nose or nasal cavity, and sound is described as nasal sound. In case of pronunciation or production of certain words, for example, Urdu words like aank and unt, we can say. Soft palate is lowered. Nasal cavity remains opened. At the same time, mouth cavity also remains opened. Air from the lungs escapes both through mouth cavity or oral cavity, At the same time, through nose or nasal cavity, and such sounds are called nasalized sounds. There are no nasalized sounds in English. There are no nasalized sounds in English, only there are nasal sounds and there are oral sounds. So this is about the introductory part of this paper. Come to speech sounds, its classification. Friends, speech sounds are generally classified into two categories. Speech sounds are broadly divided into two categories, classified into two categories. One is vowel and second one is consonant. So bear in your mind the definition of vowel and definition of consonants. First, I will define the term consonants. Remember, these are the speech sounds. Consonants are speech sounds, vowels are speech sounds. What are consonants? Consonants are those during the articulation of which or during the production of which there is a narrow gap between the two articulators so that ear escapes through mouth with friction. One idea is but clear to you that for the production of any sound, either consonant or vowel, one needs ear, ear from the lungs, at the same time organs of speech. Lips, for example, are the organs of speech makers. Now, you come to know consonants. Consonants are those during the production or during the articulation of which, during the production or during the articulation of which, there is a narrow gap. There is a narrow gap between the two articulators so that air escapes through mouth with friction. Means friends, students, try to understand. In case of consonants, our consonants have friction. What about vowels then? Vowels are those during the production or during the articulation of which there is a wide gap. There is a sufficient gap between the two articulators so that air escapes through mouth without friction. That is but clear to you. Means in case of consonants, there is a narrow gap, so there is friction. In case of vowels, there is a wide gap, so there is no friction at all. Means idea is but clear. Consonants have friction, vowels have no friction. Consonants are with friction, vowels are without friction. These vowels are further classified as front vowels, back vowels, and central vowels. So, definition is but clear to you. Definition or distinction between consonants and vowels. Listen to me once again. What do consonants mean? Consonants are those during the articulation or during the production of which there is a narrow gap. Narrow gap between? Narrow gap between the two articulators. Why two? Because I made it clear that for the production of any sound, For the production of any sound, at least two articulators means two organs of speech are essential. So, consonants are those during the articulation or during the production of speech. There is a narrow gap between the two articulators so that air escapes through mouth with friction. What about vowels? Opposite to it. Vowels are those during the production or during the articulation of which there is a wide gap. There is a sufficient gap between the two articulators so that air escapes through mouth without friction. Consonants have friction, vowels have no friction. Consonants are with friction, vowels are without friction. So these vowels are further classified as a front vowel, back vowels, and central vowels. What about front vowels then? Front vowels are those, remember, definition of French vowels, you come to know definition of consonant, definition of vowels. Now, vowels are classified, further classified as French vowels, central vowels, and back vowels. French vowels, first French vowels. French vowels are those during the production of which front of the tongue, okay, because I have made it clear that tongue is classified, tongue is divided into five parts. Tip of the tongue, blade of the tongue, front of the tongue, back of the tongue, and root of the tongue. So front vowels, front of the tongue is raised in the direction of hard palate, is raised in the direction of hard palate, the part behind the soft, behind teeth regions, hard and bony structure of the roof of the mouth, which is known as hard palate. Front of the tongue is raised in the direction of hard palate, but there is a wide gap, there is a sufficient gap between front of the tongue and hard palate so that air escapes through mouth without friction. Is it clear? Front vowels. Front vowels are those during the articulation of which front of the tongue is raised in the direction of hard palate, but there is a wide gap, there is a sufficient gap between the front of the tongue and hard palate so that air escapes through mouth without friction. There are four front vowels in English. There are four front vowels in English. Come to second. That is back vowels. Back vowels again. Back vowels are those during the articulation or during the production of which back of the tongue is raised in the direction of soft palate. The part behind the hard palate is known as soft palate. And the part just behind the front of the tongue is known as back of the tongue. Back vowels are those during the production or during the articulation of which back of the tongue is raised in the direction of soft palate, which is also known as velum. But there is a sufficient gap, there is a wide gap between back of the tongue and soft palate, so that air from the lungs is kept through mouth without friction. Front vowels are four in number, back vowels are five in number. Now, the last one is central vowels. Central vowels are those during the production or during the articulation of which center of the tongue But the center of the tongue means center of the tongue is the part of the tongue that lies between front of the tongue and back of the tongue. Okay. The 5 minutes I have made it clear that tongue is divided into five parts. But one more thing, that is the center of the tongue. Center of the tongue is the part of the tongue which lies between front of the tongue and back of the tongue. So the center of the tongue is raised in the direction of the central part of the roof of the mouth. So what the central part of the roof of the mouth means? Central part of the roof of the mouth is the part between hard palate and soft palate. The part between hard palate and soft palate is known as central part of the roof of the mouth. Means in case of central vowels, center of the tongue, that is the part between front of the tongue and back of the tongue, is raised in the direction of the central part of the roof of the mouth. And the central part of the roof of the mouth means the part of the roof of the mouth that lies between hard palate and soft palate, but there is also a sufficient gap or a wide gap between the two articulators so that air escapes through mouth without friction, as vowels have no friction at all. What's the reason? The reason behind is that in case of pronunciation or production or articulation of all vowels, front vowels, back vowels, or central vowels, there is a wide gap or there is a sufficient gap between the two articulators. Why two? Because for the production of any sound, at least two articulators, two organs of speech are but essential. So, vowels, remember, vowels have no friction. Vowels have no friction. What is the reason? The reason is that there is a wide gap between them so that air escapes through mouth without friction. And one thing, remember, all vowels are voiced. All vowels are voiced. It means that in the production or in the articulation, in the production of all vowels, there is a vibration of vocal cords, and where there is a vibration of vocal cords, when there is a vibration of vocal cords, sound is known as voiced. So all vowels are voiced, but all consonants are not voiced. Means in case of all consonants, in case of production and pronunciation, articulation of all consonants, there is no vibration of vocal cords. When there is vibration of vocal cords, sound is known as voiced. When there is no vibration of vocal cords, sound is known as voiceless. All sounds, all vowels, all vowels are voiced, but all consonants are not voiced. Some of the consonants are voiced, some of the consonants are voiceless. Friends, this is about vowels. What do vowels mean? What are the types of vowels? That is front vowels, back vowels, central vowels. Front vowels means front of the tongue. Raised towards our palate. In case of front vowel, front of the tongue is raised in the direction of our palate. In case of back vowels, back of the tongue is raised in the direction of soft palate. But in case of central vowel, center of the tongue is raised in the direction of the central part of the roof of the mouth. But in case of all vowels, there is sufficient gap, there is a wide gap between the two articulators so that ear is kept through mouth without friction. Next one is consonants. We come to know that French vowels are four in number, central vowels are three in number, and back vowels are five in number. Remember, French vowels we discussed later on, but French vowels are four in number. All French vowels are unrounded. One more thing, all French vowels are unrounded. All central vowels are unrounded. Three central vowels, all these central vowels are unrounded. Four French vowels, all the French vowels are unrounded. There are five back vowels. Out of five, out of five back vowels, one is unrounded and four are rounded. Means out of 12, there are 12 pure vowels. There are 12 pure vowels, 5 vowels, back vowels, 3 central vowels, 4 front vowels. In case of front vowels, in case of so far as front vowels are concerned, all are all French vowels are unrounded. All French vowels are unrounded. The sense is that in case of production of French vowels, lips are widespread. Lips are widespread, so these French vowels are unrounded. Central vowels are also unrounded. Out of five back vowels, four are rounded and one is unrounded. In case of rounded vowels, lips are down, not widely spread in cancer. So there are 12 pure vowels in English, or there are 12 monophthongs in English. There are 12 pure vowel in English, or there are 12 monophthongs in English. Now, so far as consonants are concerned, you come to know the definition of consonants once again. Consonants are those during the production or articulation of which there is a narrow gap, not wide gap. Wide gap in case of vowels. Consonants are those during the articulation or production of which there is a narrow gap between the two articulators so that air is kept through mouth with friction. Air is kept through mouth with friction. Consonants have friction. What's the reason? The reason behind is that in case of production of any consonant, there is a narrow gap. In case of production of vowel, there is a wide gap. So, how to describe a consonant? First is airstream mechanism. Remember, all consonants are produced or articulated with pulmonic egressive airstream mechanism, not consonants. All sounds, all sounds are produced with pulmonic egressive airstream mechanism. Means in case of production of consonants, air from the lung is thrown out. So, pulmonic egressive airstream mechanism. All sounds are produced with pulmonic egressive airstream mechanism. Second one is the position of soft palate. You come to know soft palate is the part of the roof of the mouth. As roof of the mouth consists of upper front teeth, teeth ridge, hard palate, soft palate, and ulna. So far as the soft palate of vellum is concerned, you come to know that soft palate, it can be raised or it can be lowered. When the soft palate is raised, it touches the backbone of the pharynx so that so that air escapes not through nose or nasal cavity but through mouth cavity or oral cavity, and sound is described as oral sound. But at the same time, sometimes soft palate is lowered. When the soft palate is lowered, it doesn't touch the backbone of the pharynx, so air from the lungs escapes not through mouth cavity but through nose or nasal cavity, and sound is known as nasal sound. So some consonants are oral. First one is all consonants are produced with pulmonic egressive air stream mechanism, that is, air is thrown out. Second one is the position of soft palate. Position of soft palate indicates whether the sound is oral or nasal, we can say. Now, so far as further is concerned, articulatory system, we can say. On the basis of articulation, place of articulation, and manner of articulation, we can say. First, place of articulation. First, manner of articulation or the structure of articulation. How to, we are talking about consonants, how to describe consonants. First is airstream mechanism, you come to know. Second one is position of soft palate. Next one is a vibration, vocal cords. Vocal cords, whether vibrate or may not. When there is vibration, there is sound is known as voiced. When there is no vibration, sound is known as voiced. Fourth one is manner of articulation, structure of articulation or manner of articulation. The first structure of articulation or first manner of articulation is plosive. That's complete closure, sudden glaze. What's plosive? Complete closure, sudden glaze. How will you define plosive? Plosive will be defined as sounds which are articulated with the structure of complete closure and sudden glaze are known as plosives. First structure of articulation, first manner of articulation. Under the title, how to describe consonants. Consonants are described with the help of following points. First is airstream mechanism, that is pulmonic egressive airstream mechanism. Second one is position of soft palate, whether the sound, whether the consonant is oral or nasal. Third one is vocal cords, whether there is vibration of vocal cords or not. When there is vibration of vocal cords, sound is known as voiced. When there is no vibration of vocal cords, sound is known as voiceless. Fourth one is the structure of articulation or manner of articulation. Structure of articulation, in case of structure of articulation, first structure of articulation or the first manner of articulation is complete closure, sudden release. And sounds which are articulated with the structure of complete closure and sudden release are known as plosive. Sounds which are articulated with the structure of complete closure and sudden release are known as plosives. There are six plosives in English. There are six plosives in English. P, B, T, D, K, G. Remember, there are three pairs. There are three pairs. First is P, B. Second one is T, D. Third one is K, G. Out of which the first one in the first pair, first one in the second pair, and first one in the third pair is voiceless. So P is voiceless, B is voiced, T is voiceless, D is voiced, K is voiceless, and G is voiced. Means out of six plosives, three plosives are voiceless, three plosives are voiced. Whether these plosives are oral or nasal, remember, in case of production of those plosives, those sounds, soft palate is raised. When I say soft palate is raised, it means automatically it touches the back wall of the back wall of the pharynx, so that nasal cavity is closed, nose cavity is closed, air from the lungs escapes through mouth. But these two articulators which are close to each other, there is a firm contact. In case of P and B, lips, lower lip and upper lip, lower lip active and upper lip passive, because lower lip itself goes towards the upper lip. So lower lip is active, upper lip is passive. There is a firm contact. There is a tight contact. There is a close contact between these two articulators. Air from the lungs comes, but it's blocked for certain moment. For certain moment, it's blocked inside the mouth. And these two articulators which are close to each other, which which are completely close to each other, these two articulators separate go away from each other, not slowly but suddenly, and sounds which are articulated with the structure of complete closure and sudden release are known as plosives. There are six plosives in English, out of which three are voiceless and three are voiced, and all plosives are oral sounds. Why? Because in case of production or articulation of these plosives, soft palate is raised. It touches the back wall of the pharynx so that nasal cavity remains closed, and air from the mouth escapes. Air from the lungs escapes through mouth cavity or oral cavity. So all plosives are oral recaps. This is the first structure or manner of articulation, that is complete closure and sudden release. Complete closure and sudden release are known as plosives. There are six plosives in English. Three are voiceless, three are voiced. Per, to, and k are voiceless, means there is no vibration of vocal cords. B, d, and g are voiced, means there is a vibration of vocal cords, and all plosives are oral. This is the first structure of articulation. This is the first manner of articulation. The second structure of articulation, or the second manner of articulation, is complete closure, slow release. First one is complete closure, sudden release. Due to firm contact, in case of complete closure and sudden release, there is a close contact, tight contact, firm contact between the two articulators. These are called plosives. Second structure of articulation or second manner of articulation is complete closure, slow release. Definition will be same. Sounds which are articulated with the structure of complete closure and slow release. Sounds which are articulated with the structure of complete closure and slow release are known as affricates. There are two affricates in English, cho and jaw. In case of these affricates also, soft palate is raised, it touches the back wall of the pharynx, nasal cavity remains closed, air from the lungs escapes through mouth or oral cavity, but before that, air is blocked inside the mouth, but the articulators which are close to each other, these articulators separate or go away from each other, not suddenly but slowly. So these are called affricates. What's the difference between plosives and affricates? The difference is that in case of plosives, there is complete closure, suddenly. But in case of apricots, there is a complete closure but slow release. So complete closure, sudden release are known as plosives. There are six in number. Three plosives are voiceless, three are voiced, all are oral. In case of apricots, there is a complete closure but not sudden release. Complete closure but slow release. And there are, in case of apricots also, soft palate is raised, it touches the back of the pharynx. Nasal cavity remains closed. Air from the lungs escapes not through nose or nasal cavity but through mouth cavity. But before raise. That is blocked inside the mouth, no doubt. But these articulators which are close to each other, these articulators separate or go away from each other, not suddenly but slowly we can say, and sounds which are articulated with the structure of complete closure and slow release are known as affricates. There are two affricates in English. First one is ch and second one is j. In case of ch, there is no vibration of vocal cords, so ch is voiceless. In case of j, there is vibration of vocal cords, so j is voiced. One voiceless affricate, one voiced affricate, three voiceless plosive, three voiced plosives, three voiceless plosives, three voiced plosives, one voiceless affricate, one voiced affricate, all are orals. Affricates are orals, plosives are orals. So the next structure of articulation or next manner of articulation is first one is plosives, second one is affricates, third one is fricatives. Now, complete closure, sudden release, plosives, complete closure, slow release, affricates, and sounds which are articulated with the structure of close approximation. Sounds which are articulated with the structure of close approximation are known as fricatives. Remember, what do fricatives mean? Sounds which are articulated with the structure of close approximation are known as fricatives. Means in case of fricatives, the articulators are close to each other, but there is no wide gap, there is a narrow gap. But the difference is that in case of plosives and in case of affricates, the articulators are close to each other. There is a firm contact, there is a tight contact, there is a close contact between them. Between them means between the articulators, but in case of fricatives, these articulators are close to each other. These articulators are close to each other, but there is no firm contact. There is no tight contact or there is no close contact between them. They are approximately close to each other. So sounds which are articulated with the structure of close approximation are known as fricatives. There are 9 fricatives in English. In case of fricatives also, in case of fricatives also, the soft palate is raised. Soft palate is raised means it touches the back wall of the pharynx. It means nose or nasal cavity is closed. Air from the lungs escapes not through nose or nasal cavity but through mouth cavity, and sound is described as oral sounds. Means plosives are oral, affricates are oral. At the same time, At the same time, fricatives are also oral. When we say that the sound is oral, it means that air from the lung or lung air is escaped not through mouth, not through nose or nasal cavity, but it escapes through mouth cavity or oral cavity. Means in case of production of fricatives also, air from the lungs escapes not through nasal cavity, but through mouth cavity or oral cavity, we can say. I've made it clear that there are six plosives in English. There are two affricates in English. Now, there are nine fricatives in English. Means there are four pair and one. Which are the fricatives for verb? Th, the, s, z, sh, j, h. Out of nine fricatives, out of nine, five are voiceless. Out of nine, from every pair, first one is voiceless, second one is voiced. Five is voiced, voiceless. Third is voiceless. Four is voiceless, voice voiced. Third is voiceless, the is voiced. So is voiceless, the is voiced. Sh is voiceless, j is voiced. And last one, her is also voiceless. Means out of nine fricatives, five are voiceless, four are voiced. Means in case of five fricatives, in case of production of five fricatives, there is no vibration of vocal cord. So these fricatives are called voiceless fricatives. In case of other fricatives, in case of other four fricatives, there is vibration of vocal cords. So there, as there is a vibration of vocal cords, these fricatives are called voiced fricatives. Three plosives are voiceless, three are voiced. One affricate is voiceless, one affricate is voiced. Out of nine fricatives, out of nine fricatives, five are voiceless, four are voiced. But remember, all plosives are oral sound. All affricates are also oral. At the same time, all fricatives are also oral. So this is the third structure of articulation, or this is the third manner of articulation. Come to fourth manner of articulation. First is complete closure, sudden release, plosives. Second one is complete closure, slow release, affricates. Third one is close approximation, fricatives. Fourth one is complete oral closure. Complete closure, sudden release, plosives. Complete closure, slow release, affricates. Close approximation, fricatives. Complete oral closure. So, nasal. So, what will be the definition? Sounds which are articulated with the structure of complete oral closure are known as nasal sounds. Sounds which are articulated with the structure of complete oral closure are known as nasal sounds. How many nasals are there in English? There are three nasals in English. And remember, in case of nasals, in case of nasals, soft palate is not raised. In case of plosive, soft palate is raised. In case of affricate, soft palate is raised. In case of fricatives, soft palate is raised. But in case of nasals, soft palate is not raised. In case of nasals, soft palate is lowered. Soft palate is lowered means nasal cavity or nose cavity remains opened. But at the same time, what happens? Mouth cavity remains closed. Complete oral closure. What does it indicate? What does it indicate? It indicates complete closure of oral cavity, complete closure of mouth cavity. Means in case of nasal sounds, mouth cavity is closed, oral cavity is closed, completely closed, but at the same time what happens? Soft palate is lowered. When the soft palate is lowered, it doesn't touch. It doesn't touch the back wall of the pharynx. As it doesn't touch the back wall of the pharynx, nasal cavity or nose cavity remains open, and air from the lungs escapes not through mouth cavity, not through oral cavity, but it escapes through nasal cavity or nose, and sound is described as nasal sound. Our nasals are there in English. You come to know there are three nasals in English, and there one thing in your mind that all nasal sounds are voiced. All plosives are not voiced, all affricates are not voiced, all fricatives are not voiced. Three plosives are voiced, one affricate is voiced, four fricatives are voiced. Three plosives are voiceless, one affricate is voiceless, and five fricatives are voiceless. But there, one thing in your mind is that in case of nasals, there is vibration of vocal cords. And the point is, when there is vibration of vocal cords, sound is known as voiced. In case of nasals, all nasal, mo, no, and yeah. In case of all these three nasals, there is vibration of vocal cords. So when there is vibration of vocal cords, sound is known as voiced. All nasals are voiced. This is the fourth structure of articulation, or fourth manner of articulation we can say. First one is complete closure, sudden release, plosives. For students we can say, I'm repeating it. Complete closure and sudden release, plosive. Affricates, complete closure, slow release. Affricates. Close approximation, fricatives, and complete oral closure, that is nasal. Six plosives, three voiceless, three voiced. P, T, K. Voiceless. B, D, G. Voiced. Affricates, two affricates, complete closure, slow release. Two affricates, both of them are oral sounds. First one is ch, second one is j. Ch is voiceless, j is voiced. Third structure of articulation or third manner of articulation is fricatives. There are nine fricatives in English, and so far as structure, manner of articulation is concerned, close approximation. So sounds which are articulated with the structure of a close approximation are known as fricatives. Nine fricatives: pa, va, tha, the, sa, za, sha, ja, ha. Out of which five are voiceless, five are voiced, and the fourth structure of articulation, of manner of articulation, which we come to know, is complete oral closure. And sounds which are articulated with the structure of complete oral closure are known as nasal. There are three nasals in English. All nasals are voiced as there is vibration of vocal cords. But one thing is that in case of plosives, affricates, and fricatives, soft palate is raised, but bear in your mind that in case of nasal sounds, soft palate is not raised, but the soft palate is lowered. When I say soft palate is lowered, it indirectly means that it doesn't touch the back wall of the pharynx, means there is a gap between them, But at the same time, mouth cavity or oral cavity remains closed, and air from the lungs escapes not through mouth cavity, not through oral cavity, but it escapes through nose or nasal cavity, we can say. There are three nasals in English, and all nasal sounds are voiced. Remember, these are three, four structure of articulation under the head. How to describe a consonant? Consonant is described with the help of following points. First one is airstream mechanism, pulmonic aggressive airstream mechanism. Second one is the position of soft palate. Soft palate. Position of soft palate indicates whether the sound is oral or nasal. Then vocal cords, whether the vocal cords vibrate or the vocal cords vibrate or do not. When there is vibration, sound is voiced. When there is no vibration, sound is voiceless. And fourth point is the structure of articulation and manner of articulation. And the structure of articulation or manner of articulation, there are some points. First one is complete closure, sudden release. Second one is complete closure, slow release. Third one is close approximation. Fourth one is complete oral closure. What we discussed so far as today's session is concerned, we discussed the speech sounds. Not it's not over, yeah, but we come to know the definition of the term consonants. We come to know the definition of the term vowels. We also come to know that vowels are further classified as front vowels, back vowels, and center vowels. At the same time, we come to know that all vowels, which are also called as monophthongs, are voiced. It means there is vibration of vocal cords, we can say. At the same time, we come to know that all front vowels are unrounded. All central vowels are also unrounded. Front vowels are 4 in number, central vowels are 3 in number. Back vowels are 5 in number. Out of 5 back vowels, one is unrounded and other 4 are rounded, we can say. Then we come to know how to describe consonant. We come to know that consonant is described with the help of the following points. These are the points we can see. First is airstream mechanism. Second one is position of soft palate. Next one is vocal cords. Fourth one is structure of articulation or manner of articulation. In structure of articulation or manner of articulation, there are subpoints. First structure is complete closure, sternum release, plosives. Second one is complete closure, slow release, affricates. Third one is close approximation, fricatives, and fourth one is complete oral closure. That's the nasal, we can say. But what's the distinction? What is the difference between nasals or, nasals and oral sound? The major difference is that in case of oral sounds, soft palate is raised. In case of nasal sounds, soft palate is lowered. When someone says soft palate is lowered, it means that it doesn't touch the backbone of the pharynx. It immediately means that nasal cavity remains open. When someone says soft palate is raised, it means that it touches the backbone of the pharynx and nasal cavity is closed. When the nasal cavity is closed, sound becomes oral. When oral cavity is closed, sound becomes nasal, we can say, as made it clear that there are no nasalized sounds in English. There are certain words in Urdu like aankh and unt, we can say, in case of which air from the lungs escapes simultaneously, both through mouth cavity and nasal cavity, we can say. And such sounds are called nasalized sounds, but there are no nasalized sounds in English. Remaining part remaining subpoints under the title structure of articulation or manner of articulation and then place of articulation we shall discuss, friends, we shall discuss it in the next session. Thanks. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Honorable Dr. Pandurang Shitole, sir, for your wonderful presentation. Friends and students, you may have observed that Dr. Shitole, sir, has given a lecture without taking the help of a single note or a blackboard. Actually, it is a very difficult task, as you all are aware that phonetics is a systematic study of sounds, and which he has made it clear. I am very much uh, sure, confident that your doubts regarding the speech sounds, which sound is voiced, which sound is voiceless, he has made it clear the terms, the definitions of consonants, vowels in a very simple, lucid language. On behalf of the Department of English, I am sincerely and honestly thankful to my guru, Honorable Dr. Pandurang Shitole sir, and all the dear delegates, participants, my friends, students, who will definitely get benefited by this guest lecture on phonetics. Friends, actually, we have started the series of lectures on phonetics by Honorable Dr. Pandurang Shitole sir. Hope it will be beneficial to all of us. I am thankful to the participants. I can see there are so many friends, among them Dr. Rohidas Nitonde sir, Dr. Ramakant Munde sir, Dr. Mahendra Shinde sir, Dr. Shyam Jadhav sir, Ajab Rao Ingle sir, Dr. Shilpa ma'am, and all the participants. I am thankful to you. Once again, I am thankful, and we will hope to continue this series of lectures on phonetics. You will enjoy and learn a lot. Thank you for joining with us. Thank you, one and all. Is there anyone who wish to ask any doubts? The floor is open. Ajab Rao Ingle sir is there, Ramakant Munde sir is there, Dr. Mahendra Shinde, Dr. Yogesh Malshetty sir, my colleague from my college, from the Department of Geography, Dr. Sanjay Devi Pawar ma'am has also joined with us. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining with us.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yes, yes, Ajab Rao. I think, is it Ajab Rao?
Am I audible, sir?
Ha, sir. Yes.
Sir, am I reaching to you, sir? Am I reaching to you, sir?
Yeah. Proceed.
Yeah. Sir, really, it was a really a very wonderful presentations delivered by sir. And actually, I am working in a rural area, sir, here in the Dhure districts, and this is the very tribal and rural area. So language, and for the students, especially rural students, I am working in a
Yes, sir, please continue.
sir, can you explain me that as a ideal teacher, that what kinds of the teaching we should adopt, which kinds of the teaching method we should adopt for teaching the second language, sir, particularly in concern about the phonetics.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sir,
Hello, sir.
you have made it clear that you work in rural area. Yeah.
Why is the sound is echoing, sir? Yeah, control sir. Yeah, yes, sir. I'm getting you.
Continue. Continue, sir. He is getting.
Sir, am I audible to you? Am I audible? Sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm getting you, sir. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Sir, uh, you have made it clear that you work in a rural area. Yeah? Hello?
Yes, yes. Continue.
Hello?
I'm getting you, but your sound is echoing, sir. Sir, please control
Okay, sir.
that
Okay,
system,
okay,
please.
sir. In the next session, there is technical problem. In the next session,
Yes.
I will answer the question. Okay, sir. Okay,
I can
thank you.
understand you, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Dr. Shitole sir, very nice lecture, very wonderful session. Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Karasgi sir and Shitole sir. Dr. Shitole
Okay,
sir,
thank you,
Dr.
thank you, ma'am.
Karasgi sir. Very, very nice.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
I
Thank
am,
you, thank
I
you,
am,
thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
See you, ma'am.
yes, yes, yes. Okay, sir.
Hello, sir. Hello.
हाँ मैडम बोला की.
When will be the next class, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
When will be the next class?
Tomorrow.
At what time, sir?
I will share the link, ma'am.